I have recently moved into a new space, like fresh off the plane, not that fresh. It's been 3 or 4 days. But in order to honor my capacity, which is currently low, I'm gonna do this format where I read through a newsletter that I wrote a couple months ago, and I'm gonna just riff and add on anything as I see fit. This video also, or the newsletter I chose, is inspired in part by the fact that I recently found out that my aunt watches my YouTube videos, and that made me really uncomfortable. And like my first thought was, oh, I have to present differently, or does she know that I'm, as my mother would say, and like, does that even come up in my videos? And if it did, would I edit that out because whatever, family, blah, blah, blah. So part of why I chose this particular topic is because no, I can't be bothered. That's not how this is going to work. Okay, so speaking of which, I also have a Substack, Pattern Disrupt or athenasayaka.substack.com. Links, links, links. Okay, here we go. Don't create like nobody's watching. I know you want somebody to look, you little freak. I've always found one glaring issue with the advice to create like nobody's watching. I want people to engage with my art. In some ways, that is literally the whole point. Creatives make work because they want other people to witness it, among other reasons. The reframe. There are certainly crafts and projects that we do that are just for us, but if you ever intend to share your creative work, it's not super useful to create without an audience in mind. The more effective shift is to create for only the person who you want to receive it. That's what that sentence should have said. That's not what the sentence says. Okay, let's do a quick exercise. Everybody close your eyes. Close your eyes. Think about one of the projects that you have in your heart. Now imagine how you would approach that work if you were to create it like nobody would ever see it. How does that feel in your body? What does that inspire you to do? And now imagine how you would approach that project if you were to create like only the people who your work resonates with completely will see it. What does that feel like? How is that different? What does that inspire or release? What becomes possible that wasn't possible when nobody would see it or when anybody could see it? So, can we finally be honest? Okay, there's a time and a place for creating for nobody. The appeal of making art when you aren't concerned with who will see it or how it will be received is obvious. I've talked about this actually in a different video, but the truth is that I don't need to be coaxed into creating things that I have no intention of sharing. Generally, when I need to be coaxed into doing something, it's because I'm imagining someone like my aunt watching something that I didn't make with her in mind. However, a sizable amount of the work that I create is because I want someone to engage with some piece of me. And even when I create just to work through my emotions with no intention of sharing, I act as my own witness to the work. I act as the seer as well as the seen. So it doesn't work for me to create content, for example, like no one is watching, because I wouldn't do it unless I thought somebody would engage. And I think that's true for a lot of people. Like there is a piece of us, and specifically, I think creatives, that wants to be engaged with, wants to be, I don't know that consumed is the word I would use all the time, but that sometimes I make things that I want to be consumed. That's really just it. And I think that's okay. It helps more to shift away from this sort of holier than thou, oh, well, I would do this if no one was looking, da da da, which is great. But like the thing that you intend to share, you literally want people to look at. So for me, this shift of like, okay, I'm not creating for nobody, and I'm also not creating for everybody. I specifically want people to get this thing out of it. I want this type of person to engage with this work. I also think it helps to list out what kind of person is going to be able to meet this particular work and get the most benefit out of, and then continuously adjust like a script or an essay or a painting maybe for that person. And just keeping that in mind is really helpful. Shifting your focus, not entirely away from public opinion, but instead honing in on who you are creating for is a game changer. For me, it creates more space and is more energy efficient than pretending that I don't want eyes on my work. We have the questions of the week, which is really fun. Probably my favorite part of my newsletter, just another little shameless plug for Pattern Disrupt. Okay, so this question of the week was inspired by an interview with Matt Amha. I do like the whole episode, but it was specifically inspired by the section that starts at 11:55. What does it mean about you if your work is illegible to your outgroup? What becomes true when you make your work understandable to only those who you want to perceive it? Some fun things to think about. Thanks for watching.